The former chair of this General Plan Study Committee for Costa Mesa's for Responsible Government is Jay Humphrey. You all know Jay Humphrey? He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Jay?
Please stand and join me in pledge allegiance to the flag of the greatest country.
Can't hear you.
It's not on?
Eat it.
Yeah, eat it. You gotta get really
Well, we'll
close.
do it this way.
Yeah.
Please join me in pledge of allegiance to the flag of the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you for coming to our general plan fair. I'm Robin Leffler, the president of Costa Mesa for Responsible Government. As you may know, or you may have just recently found out, Costa Mesa is going through a general plan update process, and the city hired some consultants to do an outreach. We aren't them. We're here because a lot of Costa Mesans didn't know about the city's outreach and don't know that there is a general plan update going on. So we wanted to do what we could to let our community know. And the proposed changes are going to have the potential to have a very significant impact on our community. We've gathered a group of presenters who are going to delve into different elements of the general plan. There's a couple of warnings, a couple of total disclosures. One, some of this is going to be dry, a little dry. We're going to take a little excursion into planning nerd territory from time to time. Also, I can't guarantee that there will be no personal opinions. We're a very opinionated group of people. You're welcome to join us back there. We have a whole lot of different opinions, even from amongst the presenters. We just have certain focuses for Costa Mesa that we agree on, but on planning, there's a lot of diversity. So what we really want to do here is for you to keep that in mind. We're trying to be unbiased. We're trying to be very informational. Please keep in mind that there may be a little bit of slips of people's opinions, but the main point is for you to get the information and make up your own opinions. Our goal is to inform you and to give you tools to participate in the process. One tool is the index cards. If you write comment at the top of one of those index cards and turn it in at the Costa Mesans for Responsible Government table back there, or give it to the person who's going to be collecting cards, this is going to be a comment that will go into the public record on the general plan for the whole city. So far, none of the outreach programs, nothing that the hundreds of people that came to those outreaches said is any part of the public record. The second tool that you have is to speak up. If you get on our sign-up list or get on a special notification list, then we will make sure that you get notified when there are public hearings. And right now they're slated to be at least two public hearings sometime next year when the whole process is complete. At that point, the city will present plans and goals, and you'll have a chance to come down and be on the record, be part of the official record, and come and speak up at one of those meetings, and you'll get notified if you sign the notification list out there. The third and most effective tool will be covered a little more thoroughly by presenter Anna Briska, but I'm going to tip you off. It's vote. Find people that represent how you feel about these things and support them. And that's all that I have to say right now. I'm going to hand this over to John Stevens, and then we're going to get right into the presentations. Thank you again, all of you, for coming.
All right. The most important ground rule is, unlike the city council chamber, you're allowed to clap. So everybody clap. One of the reasons why there should be a lot of clapping is how hard these folks worked. This is the culmination of a year and a half of work. They've gone to every single one of the meetings. They've studied. Look at those posters. Aren't those posters terrific? Let's clap for the posters. Those posters were donated by Forrest Werner. Let's hear it for Forrest. You folks are here. How many people read the advertisement in the Daily Pilot? How many people are here because of that advertisement? That advertisement was donated by Katie Arthur. Let's give it up. So here's what we have in store for you. We have 7 presentations. They're going to last from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. The whole thing is about an hour. They've got PowerPoint. They've worked so hard on it, and it's really tight. No questions during the presentation. If you try to ask a question during the presentation, we'll throw you out of here faster than you can say Benito and Costa. I'm just teasing. We're not going to throw you out of here. I know. There's clapping and booing. You can boo too. No, I'm just teasing. We're not going to throw you out of here. But everybody has cards. Hold up your cards. Okay. You can write your questions on those cards. Bring them back to the Costa Mesans Co-Responsible Government table. Now, here's what I want to tell you is when you go to a general plan information fair and a question occurs to you, it's a natural physiological reaction to have a sudden rush of adrenaline. Don't let it affect your penmanship. Because I have to read these cards. So write carefully. If you want to write your name on it, I'll say your name. Where are you from? I'll say your name. If I don't get to your card, it's only because it was redundant. So I'll be working back there while the presentations are going on to collate the cards so we don't ask the same question twice. See if I missed anything. Okay, so great speakers. Sandy Guinness, who's going to talk about what is a general plan. Harry Valentine, residential density, good or bad. Cynthia McDonald, outreach, surveys and proposals. Jeff McConville, density and development in the east side of Costa Mesa. Bonnie Copeland, density and intensity on Costa Mesa's west side. Terry Welsh, Banning Ranch and its impact on Costa Mesa. Anna Verska, open space. That's going to be the shortest talk. Open space. She may mention Fairview Park, the only open space in Costa Mesa. You got that on your agenda? Rock and roll. Let's give it up for him. First up is Sandra Guinness.
I hate to ask this, but which one is this our clicker?
That's okay, you have to turn it on,
Uh-oh.
so.
I'm functionally a graphic. I mean, I'm also an electronically challenged Luddite. So I'm actually amazed at how this came out. But what is a general plan?
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Speak into the microphone.
All right, is this on? I might have accidentally turned it off. Okay.
And loud, into the mic.
All right. What is a general plan? A general plan, a lot of times people think of as just the map, it's a color map of the city. But it's basically not only a plan for how the city will develop, but it provides some fundamental policies as to where the city wants to go, the goals of how we want to treat our residents, how we want to treat our businesses, and so forth. There are 7 topics that have to be covered in a general plan. They're called the general plan elements. There are 7 required elements under state law. Land use element, circulation, housing, conservation, open space, noise, and safety. So, as I said, electronically challenged Luddite. Now, the land use element, first of all, says what type of land use will go where. Where will we put commercial uses? Where will we have institutional uses? Where will the housing be? And you also have to talk about how intense those uses will be. Will we have low-density residential, say 5 units per acre, or will we have very high-density residential, say 50 units an acre? For commercial uses, usually it's expressed in terms of what we call a floor area ratio. That means how many square feet of building will we have for a given square feet of land. For example, if you have 50 square feet of building for 100 square feet of land, then your floor area ratio would be 0.5. And that could be, your 50 square feet could be all in one story, or it could be 2 stories and 25 feet. Now that'd be a tiny little building, but ideally all those uses would be balanced, so that you have enough commercial, so that people who lived in the house would have some place to buy meet their needs. There would be enough industrial and office, so that people would have a place to work. There'd be enough housing to meet all the rest of it, so people who worked in the city would be able to live in the city. As it sits right now, Costa Mesa, though, is somewhat out of balance. We must, every day, if everybody who lives in the city between 16 and 64 had a job in the city, we still need to bring in tens of thousands of people every day. Anyway, so going on to the circulation element, you identify your roads, your bike trails. Oh, I know why. I'm using the wrong thing. Okay, circulation element. You identify your roads, your bike trail. Some cities have fixed rail or whatever. You identify all your basically modes of transportation. You have to correlate it with your land use limit. Well, how do you do that? Typically, what you do is you have levels of service. If you want your roadways to operate at a certain level of service, then you need to have them, you have to balance that with the land use. If you have intense land uses, you need larger transportation systems. For example, you need more lanes in your roadway, or you need a train service, or you need something to carry all the people who are wanting to move around your city. And you're not required, though, to adopt any given level of service. You could plan for level of service A, say, which is free flow all the time. Nobody ever has to stop at anywhere for anything because there's hardly any cars for the amount of roadways you have. Typically, Costa Mesa has in the past planned for level of service D, which is at about maximum 90% capacity, so you have a little slop if something happens, and you're not, quote, wasting roadway capacity. However, some cities do plan for level of service E because they don't have the money to build the roads, and they just figure they'll force people to use other modes. So, but you have to say you're going to do it. You can't just pretend everything's going to work out okay and say, oh yeah, we correlated our roadways and our land use, and pretend it's all going to work when you're actually planning for failure. You are allowed to plan for failure, but you have to tell your population that you're going to do that. The next one is the housing element. The housing element requires, this is the only element really where the state has a lot of detail on what you have to do. First of all, you have to analyze your housing needs. And interestingly enough, you think that would be part of any of your planning processes, a needs analysis. However, only for housing are you actually required to do that. You have to make an inventory of where you have sites available for more housing, what intensity of housing would be appropriate there. You have to look at constraints on meeting your housing need. That could be that you don't have any vacant land. It might be that your development fees are through the roof. So, or infrastructure, you don't have the water and sewer capacity to handle additional housing. And then you have to develop programs for providing housing for all segments of the community. That would be rich, poor, homeless people, handicapped people, everybody, big families, single. You should include planning for all of them. Next is the conservation element. The conservation element is geared towards management of your resources. How much water do you have? What's your water quality? Are you doing things that will damage your water quality? How are you managing your watershed? How are you managing your natural habitat? For example, Anna's going to talk about Fairview Park. And there would be cultural resources, which aren't specifically called out in law, but under the general plan law or elsewhere. Even if you have minerals to be mined. When I was a kid at Costa Mesa, they used to have a sand and gravel operation next to the Savannah River.